I was playing fucking Senua Hellblade. It's pretty good. I didn't play that for
I need
such a
to
long
play that.
time. It
I
was
need to.
it's solid. What was that?
No, I need to play that game.
Oh yeah, you should. It's so fun. It recommends you play with like headphones for the binaural experience.
Yeah.
And it's just like because you mean that like they're two ports, like like relax, binaural, all the fancy terms for headphones. Put on some
Yes,
headphones for the 3D binaural experience. I'm like,
the
all right,
binaural microphone for the ASMR.
yeah, it
Pfeffer,
is
make
cool though.
sure
The
you're
audio
a
is
little
really
bit
good.
higher.
Oh,
Me?
No, Pfeffer, like her audio.
Oh, okay.
Talk.
hi. How are you? I just put up my gain a little bit more.
Right.
I'm at
More.
5 dots, not 4.
Turn up the mic a little more. Turn the bass down.
All right. Talk.
Oh, hi. How are you? I'm Pepper. How do you do?
Tell some story.
Louder.
Louder. Hold on. Then I have to
Say it with your
change my
chest, young buck.
Yeah, like talk like you're telling a story.
So, I was watching people stream Resident Evil, and I was
What?
thinking to myself, "What? Are you serious?"
No, go on.
Oh, you fucker. I was just thinking to myself, Lady Dimitrescu can step on me.
Wow, that's pretty hot.
Pinky.
Welcome to another episode of VGXL. My name is Daniel, aka Games. Joining me today, we have the lovely Fefer, aka Fefer, joining us, and we have Adocad, aka Dakota, joining us today. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. What's going on,
Welcome,
man?
welcome
Good.
back. Welcome back to another week.
For bringing me back.
Yes, and welcome back, Fefer. And missing today, as you've noticed, is El Torrente Jose.
Sad.
I don't know. He just goofed us today. Bro's
Sad
working way
story.
too hard. You're working way too hard, bro. If you know, we missed you. We missed you today, big time. But
Don't burn out.
you know, things happen. But you know, we had to get this recorded. So, yeah. Episode 25, right?
Yes.
Episode 25. Are you okay? Are you
I'm
okay?
dying. I'm dying right now.
SOS.
Help!
Yeah,
Help.
The podcast started, guys. This happened to me. Very
Help.
unexpected.
I think you know, Adocats
We
has
still have a
some
good time.
technical
putting
difficulties.
content, so, yeah. Oh, that's a good spot to get frozen.
Man, everyone's just messing up today, aren't we? Oh, there we go.
It's so hard.
So hard. All
Yeah.
right. So but yeah, how was you guys' week? Anything interesting happened to you this week?
Good.
Any stories?
I don't know. How about you, Pfeffer? Go ahead.
We got new furniture. We're telling everybody.
Well, yeah, we did get new furniture. That was pretty exciting.
That was
What'd
very
you guys
exciting.
get?
We got this sectional, and it's huge. It takes up like 95% of our living room.
Oh,
It's
nice.
great.
That
It's
sounds
really
like fun.
comfortable.
It's
You
great.
fit like right into it.
All right.
We ended
Good
up
time.
watching Iron Man 2.
Oh yeah, we
had all the
did.
snacks and stuff. It was great. It was a
Yeah,
Yeah, we're trying to catch up. We're like I missed like half of the phase 1 and like 75% of phase 2 and most of phase 3 and 4. So yeah,
That far back?
well,
Holy shit.
3, yeah. We
Oh, wow.
like I've seen a few. Like what got us back into it was watching when we were on vacation, we saw Captain Marvel, which I really enjoyed, and it was perfect because it's essentially a prequel, you could say. And then we saw Black Panther, which really doesn't include any parts of the other MCU in it. You know, such a standalone movie, which was fine. So so we watched those two. That was fun, and I was like, oh, we gotta catch up. Like, you know, the reason why I haven't seen Endgame. I'm sorry, I haven't seen Endgame, and that's because we saw what was it, Infinity War, and like didn't. Which one's the?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
been 4 Avenger movies or 3?
3.
3.
You might be thinking of Age of Ultron.
Oh,
which
there was
really-
Age of Ultron, Infinity War, right? Then Infinity War. Isn't there
Age
the
of
Avengers,
Ultron.
Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and then Endgame, right? Endgame is the
Yeah.
4th movie. So
Yeah.
we saw I think we saw Infinity War where he snaps the fingers for the first time, and Mr. Sparkle, I don't feel so good.
It's just
That's a little inside joke. I say Mr. Sparkle like from The Simpsons. Anyway, I saw that and I was not emotionally invested, and I feel like part of, and Gio mentioned this on the last episode, part of like the allure of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that emotional attachment you get to some of these characters. Like you feel like you know them, and so it was like I was watching the movie and I was like I was not emotionally invested at all, and it was just like it took away a lot. Huh?
Well, had you seen the new Spider-Mans before then?
Nah.
Oh, okay, that's probably why. Because I feel like seeing the new Spider-Man, because a lot of the emotional connection for me, at least, was through Spider-Man. Because he's young, you know what I mean? He's likable. You know, he doesn't have any baggage or anything like that. So when he's going through things, it's easy to get latch onto that. And then all
Exactly.
the Iron Mans, everybody loves Tony Stark. Or Robert
Exactly.
Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. So that's easy to fall in love with too.
Exactly. And I had watched Iron Man 2, like part of it, and I don't know, I hated it when I first saw it. And this time around, I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it a lot more this time around. Like I hated the whole like War Machine going to the party and them fighting in the party. That just turned me off because I was like, this is so silly. I was like, why are they fighting in a fucking party?
Yeah.
And him getting drunk. But then I don't know, maybe I don't know what I missed last time, but watching it again, I'm like, it made sense. It was fine.
It makes sense. It's because it's once you see where it's going, it's like necessary to get you there. So
Exactly. Like he's dying, he didn't care. I don't know, maybe I missed that part that he, that's why he got drunk and stupid. And I don't know. I don't remember why I didn't like it, but I hated it the first time. And then this time around, it wasn't too bad. I was like, oh, I thoroughly enjoyed the whole movie. Even though, what is it? I think 3 is like supposed to be really bad or not that great. Do you remember?
Yeah, 3 is the funky one because then they get the boxer. I can't think of his name. Shit.
Oh, well.
Just that actor who has crazy history of lots of drinking and drugs. They get him to play the bad guy, and it's just a weird movie. It just feels out of place.
Oh, I
It's
see. Yeah, that was the
strange,
first Iron Man in Phase 2, and so I'm gonna catch up. We're gonna catch up. We're watching with the kids and stuff like that, so we'll be catch up. See that
Nice.
that would have been good if El Torrente was here. He would have known exactly what actor and their background. He would have given us a whole history. And now look at that. See what you do to us. We're lost without you, bro. But it's all good. But yeah. But what about you? So we got friends who watched movies. What about you? How was your week at
It was good. It
Tocat?
was not bad. Play lots of video games. I've tried out Xboxes or Microsoft rather. Their the cloud gaming through the PC.
Oh yeah.
So I did that. That was pretty solid. That was actually a good time. It's not as laggy as the phone, but you have to be home on like a gigabit connection to get it to work decently. So there's that.
I mean, it's a start, and honestly, like I think I actually paid for PS Now just to try it. I didn't feel like doing monthly. I was like, I'll pay $60 for a year. Fuck it, you know what I mean? So just to try it out, because you're allowed to look at the list, even without paying for it. And I realized I counted all the rows, and I realized there's 430 something PS4 games which are downloadable, and like 400 and something freaking PS3 games that are streamable. And I was like, holy shit, there's almost 1,000 games here. I don't even think there's that many on XCloud. And I was like, that for $60, it's a great deal. For any more than that, like 120 that they were charging for previously or for it was not, you know what I mean? But hey, and you got some first parties there. It's not day and date. I give you that. Again, you're paying a lesser price than Game Pass, and but you can use it on your PC, stream everything to your PC or play local games. And not for nothing, oh damn, I gotta try it again because I wasn't hardwired. Damn it, I was gonna say I tried a PS4 game, it wasn't that great. I played a little bit Metal Gear Solid 4, just like the opening, and it was running pretty damn good for it was PS3, and it was running great. Like you couldn't even tell it was streaming. And didn't you play something, Fefer?
Yeah, I was gonna say I played Katamari.
Right, and there was like no and there was like no latency wasn't bad, right?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I was doing the hop. You caught me as I was going like this, doing the hop.
Do you have to have the console though, or are you just?
No, you can do it on PC. To download the games, you need the console, but to stream the games, you can do it on PC and phone.
But you can't just have like a PC, open up a PlayStation account and.
Yeah, you can.
Right? So you never need to buy this console.
Mm-mm.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you can sign up for PS Now and you don't need the console at all. It's literally its own app and on mobile. Yeah.
That's all. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I thought it's pretty cool. Like I haven't tried it on PC. I admit that that's next. You know what? You just reminded me. I do got to try that on PC. So to see how well that works, because I mean, not for nothing, it's gotten better. I don't know if it's gotten better on PS4 or Pro or whatever, but it's gotten a lot better. It works really well on PS5, and yeah, like I said, and the fact that like what I really liked, I gotta say, is the whole like you can go to let's say there's the PS4 games that you can actually download. Instead of wasting your time downloading the game, you can just play the game, and if you like it, boom, download it. I'm like, that's what I'm really digging right there. Like that's why I can't wait till xCloud is available, because then I can try games, see how it is, and if I want the best experience, then I can just download it. Something that Stadia should have done. Stadia should have definitely did that. They should have had it where, yes, you buy the game, fine, if that's the model they're gonna go with, but you can, if you pay it on PC, you can install the game, and if you don't want to install the game, you can stream it. That they would have been the first to the like market mainstream with that, because I mean, Amazon Luna does do that though. Amazon Luna lets you play the game through streaming to the cloud, or you can install the game through the launcher. And I'm like, you see, that's where we need to be. If gaming can go there, leave the option to install, or cloud gaming rather can go there. Leave me with the option to install, but give me the option to stream the game if I so choose, and and do it like that. So but yeah, so like I said, cloud gaming, if they were actually to go that route, I could see that being something way more valuable for in general, and that I could see people enjoying. Like that's kind of cool that you can actually like try a game out, then install it and go from there. But
it's super cool. It's very nice to not have to worry about like hard drive space.
Exactly.
Trying to download a game. Like I played Fallout New Vegas, then I downloaded or not downloaded. I just started playing Doom, and then like I jumped into like an EA game real quick just to try like a Madden out. It was just like, it was nice to be able to hop back and forth, not worry about like install space or anything like that.
Exactly. So there is value in cloud gaming. Like I said, solve that latency issue, which is almost there. Like I think we're like a year or two off. And if they can solve that latency issue over Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is the biggest deal. Like hardwired, you're getting a pretty solid experience wired, but that Wi-Fi latency is still a bitch. Even when I was testing out Luna, even Stadia and Luna, I connected the controller to the to my router, but the games are still a little bit janky with the latency, even with that. But it is what it is.
Yeah, maybe 5G will help.
5G actually, so far I've tried it with xCloud and streaming from my PC, and it's been all right. Like I gotta say, it's been all right. It's just not with xCloud. It hasn't been consistent, so we'll see.
Gotcha.
It's I'll update as time moves on.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we can move on to some news. I had a couple of stories I wanted to go over with you guys. Nice. So Blizzard is, as we all know, Overwatch 2 is coming out. Are you excited? Are you excited for that? Because I know you play Overwatch, so are you like, do you care AutoCAD at all?
I don't know how I feel. I have such a love-hate relationship with Overwatch. Like over the years, it's crazy that it's even been that long. But friendships have been tested, like on a real level. Maybe even broken on a slow break. But I am excited. It was a good time. Got a lot of hours of fun out of it. So it will be interesting to see what they do with it. But it's probably going to be more of the same. Like, I don't really know how much they can change.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because because they're going to be showing some gameplay later this month, apparently. So, I guess we'll see what that's, what's going to happen. Obviously, it's going to be the same engine. So it's supposed to be, part 1 and part 2. I'm thinking it's gonna probably. What I'm thinking is gonna be a similar engine. You probably get like ray tracing and stuff for all the next gen, and then old players will be on the other stuff. But I mean, huh?
No, exactly. Because I only played a little bit of Overwatch. Remember when we played with the boy a while back?
Right.
And like, what can they really change? Other like you have the same game type, match types, characters everybody's attached to. Other than graphics, can really.
I'm sure there's some game because they're taking a long time to you know, I mean, when did they announce? Like 2019 they announced it, or?
It's been a while, and now that they've gone through that change of like the directors, it looks like they have a good dude at the helm now. He's the guy who made and developed the King's Row map, which is like one of the more popular maps.
Okay.
So you know, I don't know if that really means anything. He designed a map, so we can trust him. But it'll be interesting. It's been out a long time though, but we thought it was taking so long because they were like, oh, we're gonna do like a single player. We're gonna make like an adventure
That's right.
portion of it. But I don't see that happening. I just don't know how they would do that and have it be like the same game.
Yeah, that's true. I guess they're trying to pull in. I guess they're trying to weigh out. If I take a guess, it sounds like they're trying to get the wider audience on top of the competitive people. So since people know Overwatch, they know what it's about. If you're not competitive or into that, you know, that's probably what they want to change, because they're trying to make that money back. So if I had to take a big guess, they're probably going like the somewhat of the Fortnite route, where they have like, you know, a standalone game like what's it called, Survive or Save the World, and then you know, and then you're gonna have the competitive portion of it.
Exactly, but they're gonna branch out so much. But that's the gaming part will be that, and then I hear they're in talks of making a show, or they're already making. That's what I'm.
Yeah, so they're gearing up for this is gonna turn into like huge now. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. I mean, but gameplay wise, like, dude, is there anything like that you think they could do that could top the first game? You know, like if you had to give an idea, is there anything that hits your mind that you would think like that would make the next game better?
No, they're just gonna have to. The only thing they can really do is balance the abilities better, or change them up. You know what I mean? Now they have the license now. It's a new game, so they don't have to worry about people being upset. Like, oh, you changed the game. It's like, no, it's a new game. So
I see. That makes sense.
Rebalance some of the abilities. I think that's the biggest thing. They'll be able to rebalance that a little, like heavier, without as much complaints and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's about it. Other than that, you can't change too much. It's already a pretty solid fucking game.
It's really true, because it's like I played harder like in the earlier days of the game, and you know, I wish like I love being placed, you know, in a league. I don't know, I love that about games, even though I don't stick to them, but I love that about StarCraft 2. I'll do like my 10 matches to get placed in the league. I haven't done that in a while, but I used to do that like every season. And yeah, and then Overwatch, I did the same thing. I would get placed in a league just to see where I would place after playing the games or whatever. I don't know, there's something about that I really enjoy. Like, I don't know, it feels like you're part of something, you know, when they do that. So
board, man, you're there.
Yeah. But playing with you guys has been pretty cool. So you know, but yeah, like I gotta practice, and I just have not been taking the time. So, but we'll see. Maybe they'll still reinvigorate that, and I'll get more into it when 2 comes out.
You know what? I did think of something. I just thought of something, because you saying that too, because you were playing with us guys. And I'm just thinking, it's so team oriented. Something that they could change is maybe making it smaller teams. Like there's a mode where you just need like a 3-man squad, and it can still be as competitive. Because that's something, like, I just thought of it. When I started playing, I had a full squad all the time, so it was tons of fun. Because we were like kicking ass, we were like doing well, we were ranking, yada yada. But as time went on, and it's just like me, maybe I get 2 other my dudes to play. Now we have to find another 3 players. So
that's
half
true.
the team now is strangers, and you know, you start losing, and it's not fun like that.
That makes sense.
Maybe that would help. And
have competitive things with smaller, to like fire team style things like that. That's actually makes sense, because I mean, a lot of games are already like that. I mean, you know, Destiny had changed to 4-man teams, even though people hated that shit. But you know, you have yeah, you know, so that would be cool if they had like, but that sounds like a lot of balancing. So who knows, for competitive play, you know, that would need a lot of balancing, but it is what it is. But next on the list, an old game that I had on Sega Genesis, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, is being re-released with its like sequel, Ghoul Patrol, and those are getting released. I was gonna talk more with Jose about that, but yeah, I actually owned that game back because he actually told me about it. He told me that he's like, oh, if you're interested in a new game, get Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and I had always heard about it. So for Christmas, my father used to have me highlight like the Funko Land brochure, had like the list of every Sega Genesis game on every printed brochure, whether they had the game in store or not. It was just always printed. And so he was like, just highlight a bunch of games that you might want. So I remember seeing that, and he actually that was one of the games he found one year for Christmas. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a cool little game. Like, you know, you're like this young boy and girl. You can pick between them, and then you walk around with like a little water gun. Did you ever play Zombies Ate My Neighbors, or remember that?
I remember watching you play.
Oh, okay.
I'd watch you play. You were in love with that game. You played like for a while. I remember every time I came over, it was just that game you had.
Yeah, because it was all right. Like I wanted to like it more as a kid. Like I got into it because I mean when you back in those days, like you had like I only had like 10-15 games for Sega Genesis, and so I would just try to play the shit out of it, but it got fun. Like because you start with like your regular water gun, you shoot like the zombies just die, but then as you progress like 55 levels, I think, and I never beat the game, but it gets super difficult later on in the game, and then of course no continues, no passwords, no saves. So it's like there's one where you get like a giant baby. I remember that shit so fondly because you see all these weird things, right? And you learn how to fly through these levels, and then all of a sudden I got really far in the game, and it's like a giant baby running around, like a 50-foot baby. It's so weird.
That's so weird.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah, it was so weird, and that freaking giant baby always killed me. But
Interesting.
But so Fefer is like, for 16-bit games, is there any games you'd like to ever see like released like that? Like, now with Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and like they did like Lion King and Aladdin and things like that. Is there any games from your past or your childhood that you would love to see like not even a remake, just get re-released in a playable form?
You know what game I really, really always have liked, even though it's always been so difficult for Sega? Vector Man.
Oh, Vector Man, right.
I don't
That's
know
the
that
only
one.
thing that I can think off the top of my head. That shit was difficult as hell.
I know.
I love that game.
Yeah, that game was difficult. No, but we rented that one time. It's the guy that he's made up of like a little balls or whatever, and he shoots like out his hand. He's like a robot looking thing, and then there's like a helicopter boss at the end, and
Yes.
Oh wow.
and there's like
my God.
yeah.
I think I had two.
Oh wow.
Say that again, Fefer?
I think I had the second one, not the first one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow, I forgot about that.
Love that game.
What about you? Is
cool.
there anything you would like to see like come back, or even just get a regular re-release?
Back like a 16-bit. Damn, I don't even. If they redid like Mickey Mania. I love Mickey Mania.
Oh, that's right.
That was my jam.
Yeah, no,
So,
you had that. I remember. Yeah, you had that game, and that game is fantastic. You know what version I need to get, like, help you get play one day, is the Sega CD version of that game is fantastic. Like better than, like, first of all, it came out for everything. I didn't even realize that. So it came out for Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and it had a Sega CD release. And if you play the Super Nintendo version, it has load screens between like levels and shit. It's like now loading. I was like, are you kidding me? It has a different soundtrack. It's missing some songs. It's like literally the inferior version of the game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I played it like on emulation, and I was like, there's fucking load screens on this? Why? I'm thinking it might be better because Super Nintendo had a better sound chip and better colors. Nope, yeah. It's actually the most inferior. It's out of the two big ones, that's the inferior version. Sega Genesis being the second best version, and the Sega CD version being like the definitive version of that game. Like it's, I forget like exactly, but I know for sure it had CD quality music, and it was, I don't know if it added a level or what, but it was like, I was like, oh, like it was fantastic. Like it looks better, if I'm not mistaken. Like it has a better look, better color palette, and better audio, like by far, because of that CD quality. Yeah, you should. I gotta help you get on that, because Sega CD emulation is a little weird, but yeah, I could not believe how good it was and how different it was on the Sega CD version, and then how bad the Super Nintendo version of that game was. But yeah, I would love to see a re-release, or like the way DuckTales had their whole remake. I would love to see something, because Mickey Mania is one of the most underrated Disney games in the 16-bit era. I feel like nobody ever talks about that game. We got a remake of Castle of Illusion, I think it was. A few years ago, like back in like 2013, I think it was. We got a remake of that. or 2012. But and that game is not bad, don't get me wrong, but Mickey Mania, man, if they do the same give it that same treatment like they did for Castle of Illusion, oh man.
Mickey Mania was just like it had everything. They went through the different eras of Mickey, like they had the music, they had like the visual, like they did such a good job with that game. Like it was definitely ahead of its time. The direction of it, like
exactly. Yeah, it was dope because what was awesome about that was that like you say, you go through the different eras. So you start in like the black and white, like the Steamboat Willie, and then you go to like the Prince and the Pauper and all that stuff. You even go through what's that called, the Fantasia level and everything. Like it's like all his famous movies, you play through them. Fire ass game, Mickey Mania, man. Yeah. Oh man. Damn, now you make me want to play that shit. I haven't.
Right, exactly.
I should stream that.
I was gonna say, play it on stream next time, bro. I'd watch.
Right? All right. I'll try to do the Sega CD version because that, like I said, definitely the definitive version of that game.
Hell yeah, that was my jam. I loved it.
Hell yeah.
What about You're just bringing me back. I don't know if this is considered like that kind of same thing, but for Super Nintendo, Super Scope 6.
Like,
what if they came like with the new one like that?
Like it would be cool, but it would first of all, it probably would be on Switch or something. And the only bad thing is that even though House of the Dead and all that's coming back out, it's a cursor. You're aiming a cursor, not shooting at the screen, because CRT tech allowed for you to have that. They could, I guess Super Scope they could do like have a peripheral, but it would still literally just be aiming at wherever the cursor showed. You know what I mean? Like the CRTs, man, that's like the bad thing. Like that's when those died, so did light gun games. Like we'll never have, unless
maybe the Kinect can figure something out.
The Kinect.
Yeah, it'll read where your hand is at, and it'll be like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Microsoft, bring that back.
Oh, just in VR. You just have the headset. It can detect your hands anyway. Just like
that's true. Like VR.
I had some weird gloves that they're developing or something for VR. It's not gloves. It's like a whole orb that kind of.
Oh yeah, the PSVR. Yes, yes.
It's a glove, not glove.
Yeah, that it's funny because that's one of the stories I should have put too, because they did just release. Well, you saw. I think I threw that in the Discord, but they have now. It's gonna have eye tracking. So the way it's gonna work is like whatever you're looking at, the graphic engine will put that in the highest fidelity possible while lowering the fidelity at what you're not looking at. You know what I mean? So if you're looking at like a ball or something in the distance, then that'll be the focus. And I'm like, they have some tricks like that now, but they're going all in apparently with that on PSVR. So that's gonna be cool.
Okay. Yeah, I know Samsung did that for a while. Like you could it would pause the video if you looked away from the screen.
Oh yeah.
It was very annoying because it had no idea when the fuck you were looking at it. So you would blink and it'd be like, okay, you're not looking.
I know. I kind of missed that when Samsung tried to be competitive and put cool shit in their phones, and then the next iteration gone. It's like, what happened?
It's expensive being cool. It's pricey.
But yeah. And then now another thing. I don't know if you guys heard, Ubisoft now is going to focus on high-end free-to-play games for the future, and it looks like they're starting with The Division, Homeland.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, start off like, how do you feel about that, AutoCAD? Do you care?
I sort of care. You know what? I think it would make sense if they were successful at doing endgame content. Because I feel like something like this, you need something to keep people coming back. End game content. That's the important stuff for free to play.
That's true.
But you know what? At the same time, I have coworkers that still play it to like this day. That they get on after work and they play some Division. So
hey, I mean, look at Destiny, and people are still playing that shit hard.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't think it's the worst idea. It could work. They make really dense games. They do make games that
they've nailed it. Yeah, the addiction
sort of thing. So.
What about you, Fefer? Do you have any thoughts on that or not?
I think I mean, just like any other free-to-play games, I'll take a look at it.
I hear that.
Did you play any of the Division?
Yeah,
I did.
Oh,
yeah, we played it.
Sorry.
Oh.
You're talking to her. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And yes,
We
Okay.
did play. We did get really into it. We get into all those little pew pews. We still have, what is that? Not Wildlands, the other one, Breakpoint,
yeah,
that we
Breakpoint.
still want to
Yeah, Ghost
play.
Recon Breakpoint.
Yeah,
That tried to be a fake division, and then they had to roll it back.
yeah. Like we like the Ubisoft games, and they do really well. They know the science of it, of like the looter shooters and all that stuff, and they get you really into it. So I can't hate on it. I'll definitely be looking at it,
Yeah, like
trying it
Wildlands,
out.
right? Exactly, because like Wildlands got kind of got a bad rap about this and that about the game, right? And then we got it like on a super cheap sale or something, and had a fucking blast on that game. Just shooting shit, driving around,
Yeah.
jumping out of
Get in the
helicopters.
car,
I mean, that was
get to the
fun,
chopper.
right? Exactly.
It's one of those things. I feel like Ubisoft. I feel like their problem a lot of the times is just bad timing. I feel like a lot of the times they drop a game when that type of game is already kind of oversaturated.
That's true. I used to call
But
them the
then,
Chinese knockoff of game makers because
yeah,
they would always
yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then their games are good. Like it's not like this isn't a bad game. It's really good. It's just there's 10 other games out right now.
Oh
That just,
yeah, or they could be very derivative. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like they did a really good job with the Division 2, but it was just like, and that was the bad thing, which I guess that I want to get into that for the topic later, so I'll save that. But yeah, like I liked what they did with what they had, like like the whole like you're in a city, but then to do different locales, you went to like the space museum, or you fought on the moon, and and stuff like that. Or you went to the other museum, and you were like in freaking Vietnam, and in the jungles. And I thought that was a really creative way to be stuck in a city, but still have like different
spice it up,
biomes and all that. I thought that was a nice touch. So I agree. Like I think Ubisoft has potential to really excel with this without making people feel burned. You know what I mean? Like you spend $60 and then you realize it's just a free to play game. And I really feel like that's gonna be the future for other titles. Like I feel like EA is eventually, I mean not EA, but well, probably them too, but I was really mad Activision with Call of Duty. I think they're right there. I think they're probably like one or two like mediocre releases away from from finally saying, you know what, we're gonna stop the yearly thing here, just like with Warzone. Now Warzone became their baby, and now that's gonna be updated. There's not gonna be any other battle royales that come out with a Call of Duty. It's just gonna be Warzone, and then updates to Warzone based on. And I feel like, why not just do that shit with a call? Find an engine that people like, even have two games going. You have the have the Black Ops engine running, and have the Modern Warfare engine running, and whatever you like, those people will gravitate to those games. There's more than enough players that would play for months at a time, years at a time, if they didn't have to buy a new game. You know what I mean? And then just add new locales every, continue the drops every other month, a new map, rotations, game modes, and then every year just have a major update every year. Don't make people pay for that shit. Like, and then let's go the Fortnite route with the whole monthly, like, give people the option that, hey, if you sub every month, you get a free item and 1,000 currency. Like, I think that's a freaking dope way to play Fortnite, because if you're not a person who buys skins all the time, hey, every you get a free skin every month, you get free skins from doing challenges, and then if you let that money, you still make that 1,000 V-bucks back if you max out your game, your thing. So you have 1,000 from paying and 1,000 for free if you play that much. So you can get like a $20 set every month if you play that much. So you get like double rewarded. Like, I think that's really cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
I just think like, pretty much exactly what you said. Like, they're already going that direction where they're gonna have Warzone, and it's always gonna be going, and then they're just gonna add on to it. Like, Black Ops is out right now, and you could play Black Ops multiplayer, but then like directly from the launcher, you can launch yourself directly into Warzone.
Exactly.
So they're already in that place, and I just think, like, you look at like Roblox, you look at FIFA, you look at all these things. Everything is subscription based, so it's like, why hit them over the head for $60 at the beginning, when we can squeeze $100 out of them slowly over the course of a year before they even realize it, with zero extra development cost really for us.
On top of the microtransactions that people will probably still buy anyway, because they make so much money just from microtransactions. So it's like, do you really have to make back your development costs? Like when you're gonna make $1 billion in 3 months anyway? Like, come on. And I'm like, I'm sure at this point they have development costs down to, you know, down to a science where they know exactly this is how much you're getting. You need to stay within that. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? Like this way you can lower development costs a little bit, you know, because you don't have to develop a whole new campaign. You don't have to, or they could still do campaign drops and hey, it's free content. Ooh, you know what I mean? And give people, you know, some campaign drops or whatever. Like, again, I feel like you would get way more players if you just made it free. Because look how many, I'm sure, like, look at my son and his friends, right? Like their parents buy them shit, you know, skins and all that. They play a lot of Warzone, and only a few of them had Cold War at first. You know, a lot of them were still playing Modern Warfare for a while when after Cold War came out. You know, so it's just like, why not just, you could have made that a free content update or something like that, and they, you know, you get people wanting to buy more shit. But and then the thing is, what kills me is that when you change games, you don't, what's making it more worth it, I guess now, is that you once you, if I would have spent $500 on Black Ops 3, you know, all those years ago, that's throwing away money. I don't have to go back to that game to see my skins. You know, now Warzone makes it where you can buy skins for whatever, you know, either Modern Warfare or Cold War, and you can see them all in Warzone, which I think is fine. That's cool. Like, and
yeah, and the guns carry over.
And like, the guns, yup. So yeah. that's actually kind of cool.
It is, yeah. Can't wait to see what Battlefield responds with.
Nice. Speaking of Battlefield.
Yes.
Go ahead, bring us into Battlefield.
Well, Battlefield, as you know, the special time of year is upon us, which is E3. It's yes, High Holy Month is almost upon us for gaming. So they just dropped a little teaser, I think, on Twitter that said what rhymes with soon, boom, and June. So they're probably going to drop some new Battlefield news, and I'm just hoping they have some Battle Royale news to go with it.
Yes.
Because honestly, I don't hate Warzone, but my tolerance level is getting real near the edge there.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a level of RNG in Warzone, and it's starting to piss me off. Where it just feels like things happen just because the game said it's gonna happen. Doesn't matter what you actually did.
Right.
It's like, this is who's gonna win this fight because we say so, and that's it. And it's getting annoying. And I've always enjoyed Battlefield more than Call of Duty. Just the feel of it. So
right.
I'm hyped. I'm super hyped to see what they have.
I mean, like what are some things you're hoping to see in the new game?
Overall, I just know they do a better job with maps. I like their maps in general better. I think they have they flow better. They feel more realistic. The scaling feels more, you know, correct. The feel of the guns I like more. The sound design.
Oh yeah, because Warzone has horrible sound design. Yeah.
I cannot believe that a major studio released a game with sound design that bad.
It's true, because I mean, look at Fortnite. Fortnite has 3D audio, like you know, I have 7.1 surround sound headphones, and I used to have like the audio cues in visual cues rather in Fortnite, but I'm like, I was looking to the optional and I was like 3D audio. I was like, okay, let me try that. Oh my god, like if there's a chest up here, that noise is coming up here, some footsteps over there or behind me or there, and it's like, yo, you hear, you know, and when you turn the character, it's like, oh my god, like they're all, like I can tell where someone's coming, you know, from or whatnot. But in Warzone, it's true, like you'd be looking for a chest and you don't know where the hell it's at, or someone's running and it's like you hear their footsteps and if they're above you, and it's like, what the fuck, like how come I should know where they are, but you know, based on the sound. So
where someone was above me and it sounded like they were in my ear, like behind me, and I turned around and then he came down the stairs, but all of a sudden when he was on my level, completely fucking silent, not a sound. Wow. And he came up behind me, like knifed me, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like how
exactly?
But I know DICE is much better with audio. That's like something they hang their hat on, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And just like the maps, like I said, they have better tanks, better vehicles. They have destructibility of their maps.
Right.
Like, did you play 4 at all?
Yeah. I played a lot of 4, and that was really cool.
Tower, yeah, in the middle of a battle royale, like a building is coming down.
That would be
fire.
fire. Yeah, exactly. I really hope, because they took an extra year, because that was what Battlefield's always been like a biannual, right? Like two years at a time.
Yeah, they're not as often as Call of Duty. It was like, yeah, every 2 years or so.
And that's not bad. I wish Call of Duty would have kind of switched to that model, because it gives you more time, to enjoy the game that you're playing. Because Warzone, I mean, I keep saying Warzone, but Modern Warfare could have easily went another year and nobody would have blinked. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I do like the feel of Cold War, but there are people who hate the feel of Cold War. So, either way, like Modern Warfare with some new maps and maybe like, something like that could have went another year. Or whatnot. But Fefer, you ever played any
not Battlefield,
right?
No, none of those. I've seen you play them and how realistic they are. I think that's really cool with all, and I forgot which one you played with the guns. I just thought it was really cool because it was, I guess, just the variety, how the maps, the look of everything, and then like the distancing. I think I remember you mentioning, like you can really just kind of feel it out on the huge. They have the huge maps.
Yeah,
right? They have the really big maps. I thought that's really cool.
Yeah, I played a bit of
like all the long term.
Exactly. No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was gonna say that I played a bit of, I think it was Battlefield 1 with Hatchet, and we used to play. That was pretty cool. Like it was it was cool. Like you said, like the big ass map. So getting us, like if you want to practice being a sniper in those games, like those games are built for like knowing how to snipe people. But yeah, I always enjoyed them. I mean, Battlefront, it follows a similar design. That's why I like Battlefront as well. And this talks about that. I hope that's like, they do well with Battlefront 3, which apparently is, it's rumored it's definitely coming out, but just it's still a ways away. But I'm sure they were working on wanting to make sure they get a new Battlefield. And I'm excited because we have, the last time we got a modern one was 4, right? And then we don't talk about the police one. So
our line was pretty bad, and then everything since then has been like old school, like World War One. And I hate those weapons. The range is so bad, the accuracy is so bad. Like I just don't have fun.
Yeah, and I'm like,
so
we need this right now, especially that Call of Duty's trying. They have their big team battle, but it's not the same. It feels like a watered down Battlefield. Like it's cool that's a giant map and stuff, but do you play much of that at all? The big one, the big Battlefield that Call of Duty offers?
What do you mean?
They have like those giant maps that it plays exactly like almost like Battlefield.
Yeah. I played it. It was kind of fun, but it's nowhere near the scale at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like it feels like
it felt like a really, really knockoff version of like an actual Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefield Junior.
You just can't get that scale. The DICE does such a good job with the scale, and like the sound. The sound is so important because you hear tanks and missiles and bullets are ricocheting and flying, and it's chaos. It really does a good job with like making you feel like you're in the middle of the shit.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's what I found very addicting about Battlefield games. It's like you feel like you're in a fucking battlefield. Like you really feel like you're in the middle of war right there. And it's cool, like jumping in a car, taking 3 other dudes or whatever, and going across the map and doing wildness is definitely a lot of fun.
The game, could you go up an elevator, clear it out, get a helicopter to the top of it, then set C4, blow it up, and then jump out the window as it's like at a 45-degree angle and you're jumping out the window parachuting. Like it was insane.
Exactly. And it's funny because I didn't get into it until like way later, and people were still playing that game hard. Battlefield 4, I had gotten on PS4 like in 2018, and it's all like user, like servers or whatever, like private servers. But man, there was a lot of packed ones in there. So the 64 players. It was really cool.
Try it soon. I think it's still pretty popular. So.
Oh yeah, Battlefield 4.
Well,
you said we should get on soon.
I might, yeah.
I would have to on PlayStation?
Game Pass.
Oh, it is?
EA Play.
Oh.
Battlefield 3, 4, Hardline, 5, Battlefield 1. Yeah. They got all the FIFAs, Madden. Yeah, they got a lot.
I forget. I know. I'm like, I look at Game Pass here and there, but I'm like, it's like, but you're right. I forgot that the Battlefields are there. Interesting.
And then all the Bethesda stuff, of course.
Yeah.
So they got the Medium is on finally for PC streaming, I think. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, no.
It was for console at first for Game Pass. Now I think it's for the PC.
Both. It was on both.
Was it?
Both.
Yeah, it was on both.
Oh.
Yeah, because I didn't buy it and I played it on PC day one.
Okay, so I'm wrong. All right, scratch that.
Maybe. Yeah. But then Fefer played it on, because I had played it on PC, and then she tried playing it on PC, but like to stream it and play it, it was a little funky, that game. I'm wondering if they might have fixed it by now, but you really had to like lower things. That game wasn't the most optimized, I have to admit, on PC. Like once I got like my monster PC, like that game ran like butter. But so to stream it, she had to play it on the actual Xbox.
Yeah.
And it ran decent. It ran pretty good.
Smooth, yeah.
But not for nothing. It, like, people want to talk like I don't mean to go on. This is like just a whole side rant here, but like people talk about like, how powerful they're, all the Xbots, essentially love their Xbox or whatever. But I'm like, the Medium, which isn't that crazy, ran like shit on the Series X. Like the frame rate was decent, but it was like, that's where everything was literally turned off. Like no, barely any ray tracing, and a lot of it was like PC was like amazing compared to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like the lighting and everything, so much better on PC. It should have been comparable, to be honest, but it wasn't. So that was
trying to get it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, and I think it even got delayed, and that was probably to fix it up. So like, it ran well, don't get me wrong, it ran well. I'm just saying, like, it could have been a little bit better. Like, that game's not that graphically intensive,
I was gonna say it's a huge game or anything like that.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for the news. We can move on to the topic. There's something this week that I want to talk about. So if you in the Twitterverse, or listen to anything else, you might have heard there was a conversation that sparked up last week where this guy, I forget his name, some check mark on Twitter was like, there's a misconception about game reviewers, so pretty much like he said, it's essentially like you don't need to be good at games or finish them to review them, or you don't need to like be good, develop them, or finish them to review and score a game. And I got a lot of people talking, and a lot of people are upset about that, like, oh, that's crazy talk. So I want to kind of like dive a little deeper into that or whatever, and kind of break that down a little bit, because it does sound crazy at first, but there are some there's some things that when you really break it down, it may change your mind on reviewing, but so before we move on, so I had a couple of questions I want to ask you guys and see, and we'll go from there. But like, just starting out, like, do you guys even read reviews? Like, Fefer, before you play a game, do you like to read reviews?
I try to avoid them, because I don't want my thought of it to be like tainted from the start, because it's hard to really pick. I don't know who, like, there's tons of reviews online, so they could either bomb the game, then they've barely, I don't know who their background in it. So if this random person on the internet that I just decide to go and check the review just hates the game, I don't know what their history on it. Do they like FPS? Do they like what kind of genres do they really like for them to bomb this, let's say, this narrative game that I'm gonna just love,
right?
So I just kind of avoid it, just because I just like to have my fresh eyes on it.
That makes sense. Exactly. I kind of feel the same way. What about you, AutoCAD?
When I was younger, I definitely used to put more weight onto the reviews, more so because I had like publications that I went to and I trusted, because they once upon a time they rated a game really well that I also agreed with, and so because of that one time I thought, wow, these guys really fucking get me, I better listen to everything they say. And so I used to. Nowadays I hit Metacritic, I just check the aggregate score, see what kind of the general vibe is just by the numbers, and that's it. And then I just try not to watch too much, but check a few videos, see what it's like. And
exactly. Like, if it's a franchise I know, I'm just gonna jump in, right? Like, like, let's say Battlefield, like we're just talking about, like, I'm looking forward to it, I'm probably just gonna jump in. If it's something new, or like we were talking about Biomutant and you weren't sure, and it's like, you know, like THQ Nordic has some games under their belt, but no bangers, you know, or, you know, that feel that crazy. So, you know, I get that. So, you know, I it really depends. Like for me, I like to go to, because now, you know, some sites kind of like remove the whole like scoring. Like Kotaku doesn't give a numbered score anymore, and yeah, like they moved completely away from that. And a few other sites kind of do that too. Like they won't give a score, but I still like to see a score. Like I like to, you know, kind of gives you a general, like, I don't want to always have to read it. And honestly, that's why I still like a score. I don't want to have to read your whole fucking spiel about why there wasn't enough, you know, women in it or something. Like I don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like what did you think about the game overall? You know, and so what I'll do is I'll scroll to the bottom. Like Destructoid still does numbers. I'll scroll to the bottom, you know, and honestly, a general rule that I actually follow is, if it's, I add 2 points because I'm easily impressed, or entertained, not impressed. I'm easily entertained, and I try to stay neutral and look at the value of a game and see, you know, like not, you know, just jump to conclusions based on a couple of stupid things. You know what I mean? So if they're giving it a 6, it's probably worth like a 7.5 to an 8. You know, it's probably, to me, like it's probably like above average, you know, or what I would score. If it's a 7, that's definitely like more than likely I'm gonna enjoy my time with it and not be mad at that I bought the game. Will I love it? It doesn't mean I'll love it, you know what I mean? It just means that I'm probably gonna now 5 is where I'm like, you know, all right, like why is it getting that low of a score? But if it's getting like a, that's a lie, I would say anywhere from like a 6, 7, I'll add like a point or two. Like it's probably better than, because they're critics, so they're supposed to find everything wrong with it, right? Where, am I having fun? Is it broken? No. All right. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like let's say for example, Watch Dogs Legions, like that game is not that good. Is not that good of a Watch Dogs game, and it got a lot of middling reviews or whatever. But it was entertaining, and that's what I mean. Like that's probably like a game worth a 6. That you know, I don't know if I'll give it an 8, to be honest, but it's probably worth like a point higher than that. You know what I mean? Like it's like a 7.5. You know, like you'll be entertained. You might be able to even complete it. The busy work isn't, you know, is entertaining enough, but it's not, you know, it wasn't the greatest watch, you know, even an open world game wasn't good, but it did have some cool things that it deserved some praise, like being able to be whoever you want, things like that. So but like, and so when you're going to read a review, right, what are you looking for in that review? Like what do you hoping to like learn about? Like, are you just looking to hear if the story's good or if the game mechanics are good? Like, you know, like is there a certain thing that you care more about when reading a review? Let's AutoCAD.
For me, I feel like by the time I'm looking at a review, it's because I'm trying to see if there's something wrong with it. By the time I'm looking at a game to buy it, it's like I said, I'll browse the Metacritic or something, but I've already seen like gameplay videos. I'm much more interested in seeing like gameplay. All right, what does the gameplay look like? Who made it? Is it someone like with a track record that I know? All right, they tell dope stories, or you know, it's a Double Fine. They tell weird, quirky stories. I know that. Like Psychonauts. I don't need to watch a review. I know what that is. So if I'm watching something, it's like Biomutant, where it's like, all right, is there anything bad? Is there anything broken about it? So that's what I think I'm usually looking for. It's like, all right, is there something really, really fucked up about this? Is there something that's going to really piss me off? Is this game, you know, if I can't figure out the game at all from the preview, like, all right, what is this? Then I'll go to a review to figure out what exactly is happening.
That makes sense. Because I think that's something that I follow too. Like that's where I care about more than anything. Is it broken? Is it glitchy? Is there something wrong like that's gonna interfere with the gameplay that like you said, like I've probably seen already? What about you, Fefer? Like, is there like, I mean, I know you say you don't really care, but like to read too many reviews, but like, what do you think
like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, what would you care about seeing? You know, like, what would you go to a review to see about?
Like, I was just thinking, so like, let's say how Layers of Fear, like going back to Bloober, right? Just thinking about like their track record, how they changed it up. Like maybe they changed the mechanics or the way they bring out the story in there, because they have a specific way to bring out the story, as you see in Layers of Fear or in Medium, and then but Layers of Fear 2, they just kind of change it up.
Right.
And I didn't care for that. Maybe if I had known a little sooner, I wouldn't have kind of jumped and bought it right away, and maybe kind of braced myself because of the kind of horror game that they that turned
Right.
out to
Yeah.
be. So maybe something like that, or like, let's say how Yakuza, how you have a certain kind of gameplay going on from Zero, Wami, and all this and that, and then they just recently changed like a Dragoner, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
they changed that to the turn-based kind of thing. So maybe like that. It
That's
would.
a huge change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you not know that?
I know now.
Oh
Shit.
yeah.
Surprise.
It went full turn-based RPG for
Oh,
like
wow.
a dragon, and their future releases are going to be turn-based RPGs now instead of beat 'em ups.
But their story is still quirky as it's always been. It's just that's the only thing that's changed. Apparently, it's still Yakuza.
I mean, you got 9 games that you can play beat 'em up, so it's like, you know,
Yeah.
can't be too mad.
Yeah. And you know what? I gotta say this: the beat 'em ups are getting so sophisticated nowadays. It's kind of tough to stay in that market if you're trying to tell a story at the same time.
Exactly. And then you've seen a lot of this place already. You've done a lot of this, so I think it was kind of needed. I don't blame them for changing it up. You know, I could see Final Fantasy eventually doing the same thing. Like maybe they did, how many they did, like 14 of them. You know, well, they did 12 of them, like with turn-based, more or less, some form of turn-based, and then completely went a different direction. So I could see them, mastering their action and then maybe going back to that. Who knows? I would love to see something like that. But like Yakuza, that was pretty interesting. That they changed, and I like that. That's a good point. That if you just went, it's Yakuza, I already know it's good, and you didn't know nothing. I'm sure there was somebody out there who did that. I'm sure a few thousand people who were like, wait, what the fuck? It's wait, what? But yeah, completely turn-based now, like a dragon. So
Yeah, it's funny.
definitely want to check it out. So another question that I heard someone asking is like, or that they had mentioned in there was the whole, like, they don't have to be good at games. Like, do you feel like, Fefer, do you feel that the person who's reviewing the game should be good at video games overall?
That would kind of go back to my first reason at looking at a review. Like, does this person typically play this genre? Do they normally like this kind of game? Like, let's say if I'm gonna go, I love narratives, I like platformers. If I'm gonna go and review an FPS, you might be a little bit like, I'm not sure about their review. Because she gets nauseous 5 minutes in, she's gonna think it's a bunch of crap. And I would understand that if you just skipped over my review on an FPS kind of game, because me personally would be someone who would try to kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. But like you said, reviewers are supposed to shit on a game. They shit on it when they can, if they don't like it, so
like, this game is in first person, 2 out of 10. Terrible game. It's broken. I can't see myself. Broken.
Can't see my feet.
What do you think?
It's just such a if they should be good at it, it's just even thinking about it now, it's so weird because games are so different from movies. So it's like, is a reviewer supposed to shit on a game during the review, or like, what is their job in reviewing this game as the reviewer? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just to bring to our attention what it's about. Is it just because then, yeah, if they're, I mean, in my personal opinion, to answer the question, I think they do need a certain amount of skill. I think they can't be a scrub at a shooter. You can't be completely uncoordinated and play Crash Bandicoot and be like, it's trash.
Right.
You can't be like really shitty at like puzzles and then solve, or go play, Myst or something and be like, shit, I don't know, this is really stupid. So yeah, I think you have to have a general understanding of the genre. I think you have a basic skill level. That video that you showed in the chat the other day.
Well, Doom.
Yeah, that was like the perfect thing. Like, how could we take his review seriously after we see him play that way?
Exactly.
Like, what the game was about, really. Like, you don't have the pace of it correct. You don't have the style of it correct. Like,
yeah, they were shooting all over the place. Yeah, so like What
Sorry,
Outcast
that
talk
was
about
me.
is, if you don't already know, back in 2016, IGN put up a 30-minute gameplay video of someone, I'm not even sure who it was, playing. Well, the one I sent you guys was just kind of like a quick, like a roundup of all the bad moments. So it was like 3 minutes long, but that's actually part of a 30-minute video, and you can still find it today if you look at IGN's Doom preview, and the person playing the game just did not know what they were doing. You know, again, if you haven't played Doom, it's a very fast-paced first-person shooter. Like they try to kind of go back to its roots of being a quick, a fast game like that. And so, you know, it's about running around, shooting all the monsters, crushing their skulls, and this guy's literally walking like very slow, like it's some kind of like suspense thriller, and then shooting all over the, like, had no aim at all. And it was just like, my guy, what are you doing?
Yeah, auto lock on melee attack though, so he just like goes from monster to monster, like missing them twice with a shot and then meleeing them and then going next to melee. It was so good.
Did I ever tell you guys about the time I recorded that for IGN? That was my gameplay. Sorry.
I was trying not to get nauseous. I trying not to get nauseous.
Gotta go slow.
It was
You know?
Fefer.
I love my melee attacks.
Yeah, but now I want that game. You know, now I gotta.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, based on what you guys are saying, what I really think there's some caveats that go with that. So, you know, like I agree with, like, you know, like there should be some skill, but at the same time, it depends on the type of review. So I think it's fair to say that, you know, and you guys, you know, let me know if you disagree, but I think it's fair to say that, like, you can review a game even if you're shit at it, right? But like, I think it should be said, like, I was not good at this game, because you can give a breakdown of it. You can talk about what was in the game. You can say, yeah, it's a shooter or whatever. But again, it does go back to trust. It's like, you know, I guess if you knew the person was bad at video games, like if my mother reviewed a game who doesn't play video games, she's gonna be like, this is stupid, I hate it, you know. And it's like, you can't really trust that, you know. And then at the same time, it's like if somebody looks at the game and can kind of describe it to you, it's like I guess that's not really a review, right? At the end of the day. So yeah, I guess, you know, so, you know, I guess saying it out, like, yeah, I guess you should have some general skill. Like, you don't have to be the best player in the world, but you should be able to get through the basics of a game, or get through easy mode at least, so you can see the game. You know, on top of that, you know, it also goes to the type of game you're playing, right? So, you know, you like story-based narratives with a little bit of gameplay. Like, you don't need to be the best video game player to play like the Walking Dead Telltale games, right? You don't need a lot of skill in that. You can be a terrible gamer and still say, like, this was great because it's more narrative driven and very little skill was needed. So I guess it depends on how much skill is needed in the game, you know, and be able to trust that person. So, because if you're reviewing Dark Souls, you need to be good at Dark Souls games. Like, you cannot, or it can't be the reason why you dislike it. You gotta be able to break down why it's good, why a Dark Souls player would like this game, you know, and, you know, something like that. Whereas somebody, you know, who never played it, you know, is gonna be like, oh my god, I can't even beat the first level, I don't know what this game is about. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's a give and take. Like, it's kind of, you know, like, you would really have to just, like, that's where I think skill is even more important. But I think it depends on the type of game and how much skill you have or whatever. I mean, you know, obviously we're being a little facetious saying, like, someone like who never plays video games, I mean, they wouldn't even be reviewing it. But you would want to know, I guess, you know, if they're actually, like, play games in general.
Yeah,
you know,
and do they even like that genre? Like,
that's
I think that's
true.
a good question too. Like, if you're like an RPG nut, I don't know how much I really care what you feel about Crisis 3. I don't know if opinion really counts as much. But something I thought about, though, is that back in the day, and I can't remember what magazine it was, but one of them used to have it, and I think it was a really, really good feature where they never reviewed, it was never one person who reviewed the game. It was always like three. And so you get three different opinions, like, at the end of it. So, like, you wouldn't get three full, you know, reviews, but you'd get, all right, Mike mainly did this review, but then you'd get Dan, Sarah.
Yeah, like a second opinion type of thing.
And you get their second opinions, and you would know their specialty. They don't have their specialty. Their specialty is RPG. Their specialty is, like, mobile. Their specialty is shooters. And it was nice knowing that reviewer's specialty or their favorite genre, and then just seeing what they thought about the same game.
Huh.
it was nice, and I forget who used to do that.
That's cool.
But that was a very good thing because now it's like, all right, I usually read Sarah's reviews, and I usually agree or disagree with her, and this is her. It was a nice thing to have. So
that's really interesting. I like that. That makes a lot of sense, and I feel like that really should be like how games are reviewed, because my taste in games is different than yours. And just like I loved the melodrama of Yakuza. You know what I mean? I loved it. I loved the whole soap opera feel, telenovela feel to it. I loved it, and I thought it was great. And you didn't really care for that. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like that's a little bit too much, and that is a thing. Like you'll hear that as a negative. Like it gets melodrama and things like that. But I loved every moment of that. But the same thing like with Persona, I love the wackiness and the craziness of it, and it was just weird. And again, you hated it, and I loved it. Fefer, I like it a little bit more. Things like that. So that's actually a great idea. That's something I may want to revisit, that idea in some form of review. A 3-person review. We all play a game and review it. That sounds kind of dope.
That's true.
Informer that did it, and because they didn't have a long career, Game Informer, like a long, I guess, run as like a review mag for that long, I guess.
Well, it's still going, because GameStop.
But like they right, but like before, when they were like independent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I think it was Game Informer. I think it was, because I didn't get many other magazines, and I know I've seen Second Opinions, and it had to be that, because I don't remember seeing that in GamePro before GamePro stopped being printed, and I think that was all I got.
GamePro, and there was one other one that you used to get a lot, so I know it wasn't those.
That I used to get?
Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 mags that I remember you'd always have, or you'd.
I know I definitely got GamePro and Game Informer. I'm not trying to think. I don't know if there was a third one. I used to get like PC magazine, but that doesn't count.
Or some shit.
What was that?
Maybe it was like a PlayStation only mag or something like that.
I don't think so. I don't know. Now you're gonna have me thinking here, but
yeah.
Not sure.
I just know I like that concept. It was cool. It worked. It was nice.
Yeah. So like so now the overall question, like, should a game even get a score if the person hasn't finished the game? And I had another question, which is it kind of is the same thing. Like, if it's a 60-hour epic, should it be completed? You know what I mean? Like how, or so let's start with that. Like, should a game even get scored if it hasn't been finished? Long game, short game, like what do you think? We could start with Fefer. What do you think?
It would really depend, because like, let's say review keys are given out maybe like a week more or less before the actual release, and if it's that long of a game, I mean, that is their job to kind of get through as much as they can. I would want the review, if they're not going to finish it before reviewing it, at least mention it. Like, I've gotten this many hours in, I'm not sure if I can make it any longer, whether they liked it or not, because then they got to keep moving or whatever. And I guess just it would be more like full disclosure on that.
Right.
That's
it
fair.
would be nice to get a full thing if it's a 60-hour epic, but then again, just going back to the time frame that they do have before they have to put out the review, it might not even give them that chance, but they can just kind of note down how long they did actually take. I can accept that.
Right. And if they felt like it needed to be finished or not, like, what about you?
Yeah, it's like the proper, yeah.
I think, man, I'm just, from a developer side, I'm sure like some developers are like, yeah, like you definitely need to finish it, and some are like, no, just get to the middle, that's good enough for me. I actually find it's weird. I love gaming, and I love most of the games I play, but there are very few game endings that I actually truly enjoy. Same with movie endings. There are very few movie endings that I'm like, that was a good fucking ending. I still like the movie, and I'll never judge it based off of the ending, because personally, I think that's just me. I hate most endings of pretty much everything. um, but that being said, I think it'd be nice if they could finish most games that they review, because some games are great in the middle and beginning, and then the end they completely take a shit.
Yeah.
And then you'd hate to like dedicate 15 hours to a game to find out the end isn't worth it. So there is that. But it is tough to review a 60, 70, 80, 100-hour game in a week or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Valid opinion. And I think they're trying to work around that somewhat, because now they like come out and they like give you updated reviews and stuff like that.
Right. Like,
but I just think that's why in general the industry is getting away from reviews, because it's such a tough thing to do.
Yeah. So for me, because I've been thinking about this last couple of days when I was writing out the outline, right? And it's like, I think there's it's all caveats are everywhere, like asterisks are everywhere, right? So it's like, because you can, if it's a 30-hour game and you've played 20 hours and it's trash, I think you're allowed to say, I could not finish this game, it was horrible. I think if you're gonna recommend,
it's not gonna get good in the last 3 hours.
Exactly. Like 20 hours is trash, but the 21st hour, oh my Jesus, it's amazing. Like, yeah, like it's true. Like so it's hard, like you said, because it's like if it's a long game, it really depends on how long it takes for the game to pick up, and are you enjoying the mechanics up until that narrative? Because narratives can take a while to pick up, right? So it's like, I guess that's where it's double-edged. So like you have to make sure that you can review mechanics of a game and whatever, but it's like I wouldn't I think if it's a bad game, you don't have to finish it. I think if a game is just look, this is objectively bad, the fighting is boring to tears, the narrative is boring, like I don't care about any of the characters, I don't care about what happens in this game, I think you can give an honest review, and you've put, I think a certain amount of time does have to put in, you should have to put in, which
that's true.
Depending on how long the game is. So if it's a 5-hour game, I mean, you don't want to play for 10 minutes, be like, well, 25 hours, like you can finish that, but like if I'm thinking if it is like a 30 to 60 hour epic, I think you should be putting in at least 50% to make your final judgment of whether or not you're going to complete the game. I don't think you can say a game is good, even if you're enjoying it. I don't think you should be saying a game is that good on, unless you've pretty much completed it, like completed the narrative. And I think that's a big deal, like completed the narrative now, which again has its own caveats, because it's like, now look at The Division. It got great scores, great reviews. It was getting praised everywhere because solid shooting, story was good enough, whatever. You didn't really come to those games for the story, but it was good enough, and the locales were cool, so, and that's what a lot of reviews were based off of. But little do you know, a week later it's getting torn apart because the end game just was non-existent. So it's like, that's an incomplete review if you think about it, because while maybe not everybody's getting to that end game or it's going to stay, there is that niche that's going to stay, and you're lying to those people pretty much, what I mean? Or not lying, but you're not giving a fair assessment to those people. So it's like none of the end game was reviewed. I vividly remember that, because it got scored through the ass, and then like a week or two later, you kept seeing it and then they come out with stories like they didn't just review it a week ago saying that it was the greatest Division game ever, but then, oh yeah, the players are not happy with yeah, but you said it was a great game, and end game is a part of that game. So I think that again, it's like, if it's a single player narrative, I think you should do your best to complete that narrative. If it's too long, again, yeah, I agree, it should be stated like, I couldn't finish it, but so far I'm loving it, and I'll update this later, but I think I played 25 hours of the 50 hours the game's supposed to be. I played it's whatever, I've played 10 hours of it, and there's so much other side stuff that whatever. So again, I think a lot of this comes from the type of game, how long the game is supposed to be, because I'm sure most developers know how long their game is supposed to be. Like Biomutant's main story is 10 hours, that's what they say, but there's so much extra shit in the game that it should take you 20 to 30 hours to complete it if you actually take in the game, what I mean, which I think is is fair. I think that respects your time, and makes for a good game.
That's like a good point because like when I think about it from that angle, like a bad game is gonna be a bad game. The first hour, like the 10th hour, that kind of maybe softens my view on it a little bit because I'm like, all right, mechanics are the mechanics. They're not gonna change at the 20th hour.
Right.
Witcher 3, what the mechanics are by hour 2. It's gonna be the same at hour 25. It's just you've got more narrative going. But if you take the game is also a lot of just the mechanical side of it. So that's a good point. Maybe you don't really need to finish it that much.
Exactly. Like if it's a shit game, like I think it's fair to say like I'm not gonna finish this game,
Right.
And the thing is, we're talking from like I'm realizing we're talking from like a professional standpoint, because I think professionally, honestly, if you think about it, like a lot of review sites do work in progress. Like this is a review in progress, and they will tell you, like Destructoid does that a lot, and Kotaku does that, where they'll say this is a review, this is what my thoughts are so far. I've played about 10 hours there, I know I have a lot more to go. The game drops next week, so I'm trying to get through it, and they'll give a first impressions, and I think that's fine. I like that, you know what I mean? Like this is because they'll be like, yeah, it's great right now, and then when they give their review, it's like, all right, and now it took a turn for the worse, you know what I mean? And so it's like, but I think if it has a beginning, middle, and end, I think reviewers should be trying their damnedest to finish the story-based game. If it's a game where story doesn't matter, like it's like historically, like Call of Duty campaigns, you're not rating Call of Duty based on this campaign, because you can have the greatest Call of Duty game overall with a shit campaign. I mean, look at Black Ops 4, didn't even have one. So, but I'm saying, like, even though I know there's a niche out there who does care about that, even Mike said he used to buy them yearly for the story, so I know people exist, but again, historically the game doesn't really matter. So you can have a kind of a boring blasé story there, but if the multiplayer maps are amazing, the new game modes are amazing, graphically it's amazing, it's like, maybe it's not a 10 because the campaign does suck, so fine, but you can give it a fair score, based on that. But I think like you guys have already stated, I think transparency is a big deal, and I think you should be very transparent depending on the game. Like, again, only if you're enjoying it. Like, look, I really enjoyed the first 20 hours. I have not finished this though, so just keep that in mind. I like what I've played so far. I'm really digging it. It has a lot, just keep that in mind. But another thing that I thought about is just personal reviews between people. Like, I've recommended games I haven't finished, and I think a lot of people do that. I mean, have you not done that? You never just been in the middle of a game, loved it, and been like, I'm loving this shit right now? Like,
Professional, I would never do that to somebody.
So yes, I'll take that as a yes.
No, I would never. Yeah, maybe sometimes.
I mean, tell me not. Like Returnal, for example. I haven't finished that game, but I can recommend that game based on if you like roguelikes, if you like this. I already know it's 6 rounds, 6 levels or whatever. I already know that. So knowing how long the game is, knowing that it's not a narrative based game, I think that's a game that could be recommended without necessarily finishing it, because at the end of the day, again, I don't know. Yeah, at the end of the day, damn, sorry. It's like, now the more I talk, the more I'm just like, maybe not. I can recommend the game. I don't know if I could score it though. I think there's a difference. Like, I can recommend trying it, taking a look at it, but scoring it might be hard, because let's say you have a game like this, right? That just hit my mind right now. Let's say you have a game like that. It's great, it's fun, up to the 3rd level, but then when you get to the 4th and 5th level, it could take a shit and be like horrible, like a slog at the end, and so that wouldn't be fair, huh?
It would happen the other way.
That's true too, where it's like not that great at first, like, but then medium. Huh?
Like the medium.
Oh yeah, like you weren't feeling the medium in the beginning. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just such a hard thing. Like, it's tough because they are very interactive, and they do, to get the full experience, you really want to experience the full thing, but that's like so hard to do sometimes. And like,
yeah,
like I've definitely recommended that, like, hey, listen, I'm probably never going to beat a Forza, but I'll recommend the shit out of Forza to you. I love Forza.
That's true.
I'm not going to beat it. Same thing with I just was talking to Fefer, and I told her how awesome Senua Hellblade was. I didn't beat it yet though, but I'd probably recommend that to people. It's really good so far.
Exactly. So I think recommending like, but again, you know, I think it would be nice to be like, well, I haven't finished it, but so far I've played like 10 hours and I'm loving every second of it. Normally, I mean, you know, it's hard for a game to take a shit after that. So it's like, you know, like I said, it really depends. I mean, like it's true. Like the more you think about this, the harder it gets. Cause it's like, I think honestly, if you're doing it professionally, like I think I lean more towards you should finish the game. Especially if it has a beginning, middle, and end, and or if it doesn't, if that doesn't matter, if the narrative doesn't matter, then you need to put in like a lot of time or getting towards the end, like, you know, like again, Returnal doesn't matter story wise. It has story, and I hear that there's like, you know, it gets a little melodramatic towards the end, but you know, I think you should at least get to the 6th level and say I didn't get to the final boss, but everything up until this was fire, you know, or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's fair to really rate a game. I think it needs to be said. I think that's like my final verdict. Like I think overall, yeah, like you should if you're gonna give it a score, I think it should be finished, you know, if it can be finished, you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, if it gets a number score, then it should be like complete, because otherwise how can you get like a final numerical
exactly
score?
Because like again, it's like, you know, how do you, you know, a bad ending can take away, like an abrupt ending. You're playing a game, it's going great, and then it just abruptly ends with no payoff. That's shit. You want that, just like what happened with Resident Evil, that you got the bad ending, you didn't get the payoff, and that's why I was like dying inside for you, because I'm like, yo, you did not get that payoff at the end.
I still stand by my choice. Fuck Barry.
Damn that Barry.
That's funny.
Double cross.
Maybe the real question is, do reviewers even need to exist anymore? Because we have YouTube, and we could just watch somebody just play the game and be like, all right, I think I like that.
True.
I mean, it's true.
Anyways, if they're just gonna say this is a work in progress, this is a review in progress, it's like, well, I'll just watch Billy on YouTube review this in progress. And
that's, you know, that's a crazy ass question. You know, that's like, do we even need reviews anymore? Damn, like, it's true, because think about it. You go to Steam, you know, like, are you gonna listen to if you read a review that gives a game a 5, says it's shit, but then you go to Steam and it's overwhelmingly positive, what are you gonna believe? You know, you're gonna believe and then it shows you verified purchases. Wow, what do you think about that, Fefer?
Well, it's kind of weird because.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking because it's just kind of weird, and in that sense, because then you can go to Steam and you'll see somebody give the game 1 star, but then they've got like 2,000 hours in the game. Like, this game is crap, but why are you still playing it for so long? Like, like, why are you even, like, this is Destiny players, you know, like love-hate kind of thing with the game.
Well,
but they're still there after.
Well, I can actually kind of play devil's advocate there. Because with the I don't know if it's a problem, but with Steam, you either recommending the game or not recommending the game. So you can put 2,000 hours and be like, yeah, I put a lot of time in this. I don't know if you want to do that to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I recommend that you do that. You know what I mean? So that's the thing, because it doesn't really have a rating system. It's just a thumbs up or down. It's like, is it good? Do I recommend this for you to buy it or not? And you could be like, well, look, I put in this many hours, but it's very incomplete, so I can't recommend it yet. And that's usually what some people try to do. Not everybody, but some people say, no, I don't. But you're right, though. I'm like, if you're putting in 2,000 hours, like, you know, like I said, the $1 per hour value, like we've talked about last week, is like, I think that matters. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna play, you can get very much into this game, just, you know, buyer beware, you know. But like, you can recommend a game that's has issues, you know. So
exactly, like, I could still love a game and go and recommend it while I'm halfway through, and just I just stick with my full disclosure.
right.
I like a certain kind of game, and I'm playing this completely different game. Like, I'm not vibing with it so much, but if you're into that stuff, go for it. Then I recommend it. That's really, because I don't like to lead anybody to the wrong thing, and then they're just gonna be like, oh, I wasted $20 on this game or $60 on this game, and I hate it. Like,
that's what I've been trying to do when I tell people to buy games, especially, you know, my picky friends, that they're so picky. All of y'all so picky with games. I don't know. I'm not picky with games. It's like, I'll try anything, you know what I mean? It could be freaking golf. If you told me golf and Chinese Checkers 2000 is awesome. I mean, I'm gonna try it out, you know what I mean, to see what the hype is.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh yeah, exactly. Freaking get stuck, because it's like
well-rounded.
that's why I'm like, so now whenever I do recommend games to friends, it's like, is it a genre that they normally play? Because if it's something that they normally play, it's gonna be hard. Like now I know to never recommend a dope RPG do you ever. Oh no, Persona Tinsa Esagumi, what's it called? How you call that? Sorry.
And then the high school themed cartoon. Weird inner heart fucking
shit is awesome, man. You need to try it again and look past all that. Just play it and love it.
Yeah, maybe in the right mindset I'd get more into it, but I don't know. I forget what else I was playing at the time, but it was just too much. I was just like, no, this is.
You know what it is? It's like that, like the Napoleon Dynamite movie that when I first saw it, I hated that movie because I went into it with the wrong mindset. I went into it thinking it was a more serious, not a serious movie, but not such a goofy ass movie either. I didn't expect it to be such a goofy movie, and when I went into it again, watching it, knowing like what it was supposed to be, then I appreciated it way more than the first time. So that is possible. You could think like you thought you were getting into something, and it's like, what the fuck? Why? You know, it's like I could see that. Like the gym teacher, what is he molesting them? They're going into his brain, like. But if you know that's what it's about, like that, like, hey, look, you're going into a crazy Japanese anime type of, you know, predicament, and this is what they do, and it's about a bunch of persona, like that's the name of the game. You know what I mean? Like so.
A game where you've done that, where you started it, just hated it, never played it, and then gone back like years later.
I feel like it. I'm like trying to think of an example. Oh well, like I said recently, like Horizon. Like I when I started it, I had to force myself to stay with it. I had to force myself to stay with it. Like take a deep breath and like, all right, let me you know, and play the game. Like I'm you know, like when you play something like Assassin's Creed, right, or even Ghost of Tsushima, it's hard to fuck up in those games. You can fuck up, but it's hard to like really screw up. And with just a little bit of dedication, you know, maybe going this way, maybe a little bit more silent, maybe doing this. But with fucking Horizon, you gotta have the right tools. You gotta like make sure you get in that little first hit. You gotta make sure there's not a bunch of other monsters. You gotta like track it, make sure it's going the right path. Like you gotta really strategize some of those fights until you get stronger. And I wasn't ready for that, and I didn't know that's what I was getting myself into when I played it. So that's why, you know, when I got into it, I was like damn, I'm getting murdered, you know, like just because I'm like, I don't. And then the other thing is having to play like that. Like sometimes I just want to run to the next town. I don't want to fight nothing. I just want to murder it real quick and keep. You can't do that. You gotta really like sneak up to it and hunt. You gotta hunt, and which is great. That's great about the game. But again, I went in with the wrong state of mind, you know, at first, and then once I said, okay, you know what, let me try this one more time out, and I think I had started back a little bit, so I think I like lost the save. So I was like, that was another thing. Like if you don't save and you get murdered on your way and you forget to save, it's like that shit ruins your fucking life. Yeah. So it's like that was another thing, is like losing progress. So again, it's almost like or Bloodborne. Oh, I hate it. So many people said it was the game of the year. It was one of the best games ever made. And I go try Bloodborne. I had no idea it was a Souls like. I didn't know what Dark Souls even really was. I just knew it was supposed to be a difficult game. Like I paid money for it. I bought the game. I'm playing it and I'm getting murdered in the beginning. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And it wasn't until like, huh?
What's happening here?
Exactly. Like I was getting destroyed. I didn't know how to parry. I didn't know you had to shoot the gun to parry. Like, so finally I got into a Dark Souls a bit and played that a lot. And and then Sekiro I played. I knew what I was getting into with Sekiro. Okay. And I played that shit like crazy. And then so I was like, you know what, let me go back to Bloodborne now that I know how to deal with a Souls like, or now Soulsborne, because Bloodborne's it's kind of its own thing from Dark Souls. I loved it. I was like, wow, now I see why this game is fucking fantastic. Now I see why people are in it, because you have to know what you're doing. You have to get good, and I didn't know what the fuck get good meant, you know, like, you know, for those types of games. So yeah, so for me that's what it was.
Okay. And Fefer, you had one?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I saw you nodding.
Well, because like, let's say at first, so I forget which one of them, because I've always really liked Little Big Planet. But
Okay, yeah, yeah.
one of the, I guess, Little Big
3?
Planet 3,
I think
where
it was the
you had
PS3 one.
they split it up into, because you have to get like these other little characters, and then you turn into like a bird and like a dog, and then you have to get them all, so then you can swap between them, so you can fly and get through different spaces. And at first, like I played it, and I kind of tried playing through it just kind of because it was Little Big Planet. I love Little Big Planet,
Yeah.
but I wasn't feeling it.
Right.
So that, like, I stopped, and then like 6 months later, I get back into it again, and it's just kind of a bit of a struggle with that one. I still haven't finished it. I have to say I still haven't finished it, but so I'll
Shame.
eventually be going back. I'll probably play another few hours in and stop again. It's a, I don't know.
So
Same
it's just
thing
like
with
grabbing you, it just doesn't like.
it's, and you know what, also because then even with Little Big Planet, sometimes you'll get to a part, well, I've gotten to a part that I just can't figure it out, or it'll just be difficult. And then I'll go back to it later and be like, how the hell did I get stuck here? This is so stupid. This is so easy right now. And you just feel like, have I just gotten better at games? And
Yeah.
you just get better. I don't know. Or
Sometimes
it
you just
just,
gotta sleep on it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And even like Layers of Fear too. I'm building up to go back to it, because then that turned into like Outlast, where you're getting chased, and I hate that
Yeah,
crap. But
stalker games. Yeah, that it's become a genre now. That's what's called like stalker based, horror. Yeah.
yeah,
No.
once I got chased in Layers of Fear 2, I said, nope, we're gonna stop right here. And I haven't
That's
gone back
great.
since, but I do
Yeah.
want to finish it because I like Bloober games. I like Team Bloober, but I just didn't like that. I don't like getting chased.
What
Fair
about you?
enough.
Did you have a game?
I'm pretty hard-headed, so I usually stick with whatever I start. But it's funny because Outlast is actually one of those games that I played it and I didn't get very far because I got like stuck in a room and and it wasn't my jam. Any like that genre is not usually my shit, so I didn't go back to it. And then like 2 years later, I picked it up again and I played it and I beat it. And I don't remember like, and it's weird because I really didn't even like the game. It was one of those games where I played it and beat it, and I don't know if I really enjoyed it. I just kind of did it.
Like, well, that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty
You
much.
were just
I was
on
like,
edge
oh,
to really enjoy it.
yeah, it was strange, but most of the time, what'll stop me, like The Witcher 3, I actually stopped playing for a long time just because I got stuck. I got stuck in a fight and I could not beat it. And then I just was determined. I threw it on one day, like legit, like 6 months later, and I beat the boss. And I was like, oh, all right, there we go. And I was like 2 hours away from the end, and then I finally like just knocked it out. I was like, okay,
Oh
cool.
shit! Wow.
Yeah, that happens more often than I'd like to admit. I get stuck at an end boss, like way towards the end. I get stuck, and I just like, all right, I'll
That's
get
the
back to you
worst.
later.
That's the worst. So when you
Yeah.
put a game down and then for like a month you go back and like, what the fuck was I doing? Fuck. Let's start from the beginning. Fuck this game. I'm not starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
I gotta go back to, that's like Red Dead. Like Red Dead, like we talked about, like and it was just like, I want to finish that game just to like finish it, but
Watch the movie.
right? I mean, with YouTube now, that's all you gotta do is watch the freaking edited movie. So
That's what I did. I could not be. It was so boring.
yeah. All right. So I mean, I think we covered a lot of good stuff here. This went on a lot longer than I thought it was gonna go on today, but I think it was a great episode.
So,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
my opinion matters, damn it.
Huh?
So my opinion matters, damn it.
Yes. Everybody's opinion matters.
Except Fefer's, not your Fefer. Huh?
Oh, you about to get, so Video Games X Life now will only include Fefer and and maybe El Torrente.
It'll be posted to me in the background with a big X over my face.
Exactly. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for listening. If you made it this far, thank you so much. If you're not following us on Twitter, VGXL Podcast, and Video Games X Life everywhere else. And yeah, that's all I got from me. Have a good night.
Later, guys.